Ever wondered what happens when we toss millions of car tires into the ocean? Well, let's turn back the clock and explore the origins of this peculiar practice. It all started back in the mid-20th century, in the golden era of the automobile industry. As cars became more common, so did the problem of used tires. Landfills were overflowing, and a solution was needed. Enter the ocean, a vast, seemingly infinite space, which at the time seemed like the perfect dumping ground. The idea was simple: dispose of the tires in the ocean, where they would sink to the bottom, and hopefully become homes for a myriad of marine creatures. It was thought that the tires would mimic the rocky nooks and crannies that many ocean species love to inhabit. On top of that, it was believed that this would help ease the strain on landfills, killing two birds with one stone in a manner of speaking. The year was 1972 when the first major tire dump occurred. Over 2 million tires were bundled together and thrown into the ocean off the coast of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, with the full backing of the state's government. It was hailed as a win-win situation. The tires would supposedly provide new habitats for fish, while we humans could rid ourselves of an environmental headache. But as the saying goes, the road to hell is often paved with good intentions. In our case, it was paved with rubber tires. The assumptions made were based on limited understanding of marine ecosystems. We believed that the tires would remain in place, gradually becoming part of the ocean floor's landscape. We assumed that marine life would readily accept these artificial structures, colonizing them and thriving in their new rubber homes. Little did we know, we were setting in motion a chain of events with far-reaching consequences. So what happened after the tires hit the ocean floor? Well, the immediate impact was both devastating and far-reaching. As the tires settled onto the seabed, they began to wreak havoc on the delicate marine ecosystem. The first victims were the coral reefs, the ocean's bustling cities of life. These vibrant underwater structures, home to a quarter of all marine species, found themselves under siege. The tires, bulky and invasive, crushed the fragile coral formations, erasing years of growth in mere moments. But the damage didn't stop there. The reefs, once teeming with life, became ghost towns. The biodiversity they once fostered lost. And then came the chemicals. You see, car tires aren't made from pure rubber. They're a cocktail of synthetic materials and toxic chemicals. As the tires broke down, they began to leach these harmful substances into the water. We're talking about heavy metals like lead and zinc, and volatile organic compounds that can be damaging even in small quantities. These toxins seeped into the water, contaminating the marine environment and entering the food chain. The effects on marine life were, to put it mildly, catastrophic. The poisoned waters saw a significant decline in fish populations. Species that once thrived started to disappear, their numbers dwindling as the toxins took their toll. And it wasn't just the fish. The entire marine food web felt the impact. From the tiniest plankton to the largest whale, no creature was immune to this unfolding disaster. Even the ocean floor, that vast unseen world, was transformed. The tires, piling up like mountains on the seabed, altered the very landscape of the ocean floor, disrupting habitats and changing the face of the underwater world forever. The ocean, that vast, life-giving expanse of blue, was silently battling a man-made disaster. But the worst part? This was just the beginning of a decades-long catastrophe, the full extent of which we're only beginning to understand. As we move forward, we'll explore the aftermath of this disaster and the hard lessons we've had to learn. But for now, let's take a moment to reflect on the fact that the ocean was silently battling a man-made disaster. As the years rolled on, the devastation only grew. The once crystal-clear waters of our oceans began to transform into a murky, toxic wasteland. A direct result of the 2 million car tires dumped into their depths. The environment we once took for granted was now under siege, and the battle scars were evident. The rubbery invaders, designed for durability on land, proved to be just as resilient in the ocean. Rather than decomposing, the tires persisted, resulting in long-term effects that were far-reaching and catastrophic. They began to break down into smaller pieces, but instead of disappearing, they transformed into microplastics, an invisible enemy that spread far and wide. The impact of tire dumping was not confined to one single area. Like a malignant disease, the damage spread to other marine ecosystems. The microplastics were carried by ocean currents, infiltrating waters and habitats far removed from the original dumping sites. Coral reefs, the rainforests of the sea, began to suffocate under the onslaught. The intricate balance of marine biodiversity was disrupted. and the ripple effect was felt across the globe. The devastation was not only ecological but also had a profound impact on human life. As the pollution levels in the ocean spiked, the quality and safety of seafood began to decline. Fish, which had ingested these microplastics, were caught and consumed, introducing these toxins into the human food chain. From a delicacy, seafood turned into a potential health hazard, a grim reminder of the consequences of our actions. The marine world, once a haven of biodiversity, was now tainted by the remnants of human consumption. The discarded tires, a symbol of our disregard for the environment, had turned the ocean into a shadow of its former self. The tire graveyard was no longer just an eyesore, it was an environmental disaster that threatened not just marine life but humanity itself. The ocean was now a ticking time bomb, a silent testament to the devastating and long-lasting effects of our actions. As we move forward, it's crucial to remember that every choice we make leaves a mark, and in the case of the 2 million car tires, that mark was a scar that ran deep. The ocean was now a ticking time bomb. Finally, after decades, we woke up to the crisis. It was like a rude awakening from a deep, oblivious slumber. The time had come when environmentalists and governments started to recognize the colossal mistake that had been made. The tire dumping project, once hailed as a brilliant solution, had turned into an environmental nightmare. Studies started to pour in, painting a grim picture of the damage caused by the 2 million car tires tossed into the ocean. Researchers dove deep into the depths, braving the murky waters to understand the extent of the devastation. What they found was heart-wrenching. The once thriving marine ecosystems were now smothered under a blanket of rubber and metal. The vibrant aquatic life was replaced by a haunting silence and a graveyard of tires. Governments, once the proponents of the tire dumping initiative, were now scrambling to find a solution. This was not a problem that could be swept under a rug. It was a glaring, tangible issue that was causing irreversible damage to our oceans. They had to act, and they had to act fast. And so, the cleanup efforts began. It was a Herculean task, one that required immense manpower, resources, and time. But the gravity of the situation demanded it. Entire fleets of ships were mobilized, armed with special equipment to retrieve the tires from the ocean floor. It was a painstakingly slow process, but with each tire removed, a small victory was achieved. Meanwhile, scientists and environmentalists were working tirelessly to restore the marine ecosystems. They understood that merely removing the tires was not enough. The ocean needed healing. It was a long, arduous journey, but they were determined to bring life back to the ocean. As the cleanup and restoration efforts continue, we are left with a stark reminder of the consequences of our actions. The tire dumping project was a lesson learned the hard way. It was a testament to our ignorance and arrogance, a memento of our reckless disregard for the environment. It was a wake-up call that came too late. Now we stand at a crossroads. What will we choose? Our world, our environment, our oceans are not invincible. They need our protection, our care, and our action. Each of us plays a part in this grand, interconnected ecosystem, and each action we take has a ripple effect, be it for better or for worse. This is not a time for apathy or ignorance, but a time for responsibility and change. Imagine, if you will, a world where each one of us makes conscious decisions to protect and preserve our environment. A world where we recycle our tires instead of discarding them. A world where we ponder upon our consumption habits and make an effort to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Picture this world and realize that it's not a distant utopia, but a possibility within our reach. Each recycled tire is one less tire polluting our oceans. Each conscious decision to reduce consumption is a step towards sustainability. Each action, no matter how small, contributes to a larger goal, a healthier, cleaner, and safer environment for all. But this isn't a journey we can embark on alone. There are numerous organizations out there dedicating their time, resources, and energy to clean up our oceans, to rectify the mistakes of the past. They need our support. They need our voices. They need us to stand up and say, enough is enough. Supporting these organizations can be as simple as making a donation, volunteering your time, or even sharing their mission with others. Every bit of support counts and helps to make their task a little easier, a little more achievable. We've seen the shocking results of our past actions. 2 million car tires thrown into the ocean, wreaking havoc on marine life and the delicate balance of our ecosystems. We can't change the past, but we have the power to shape the future. The choice is ours. Will we continue to harm our oceans, or will we take action to protect them? The answer lies in our hands. Let's choose wisely, for the sake of our oceans, our planet, and our future.